Hello, Valerie from BabywiseMom.com talking with you today all about your baby's 10th month. Your baby will be 39 to 44 weeks old, and your baby will start as a 9-month-old and end as a 10-month-old. And of course, before we go further, make sure you like the video and subscribe to my channel. Let's start with the eat portion of your day. Your baby should have 3 to 4 liquid feedings and 3 solid feedings. I highly recommend that you do 4 liquid feedings if you are breastfeeding. If you are pumping, then you may be able to feed 3 liquid feedings, but pump a 4th or 5th, whatever you need to do to keep up your milk supply. If you are formula feeding through a bottle, then you can probably do 3 feedings a day if your baby can handle it. Your solids are 3 times a day. You're looking for a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but also in conjunction with a liquid feeding. So if you have, for example, a 4-hour schedule of feeding at 7, 11, 3, and 7, then you will have a liquid feeding at 7, followed by a solid feeding, liquid feeding at 11, followed by a solid feeding, a liquid feeding at 3, and you might have a solid feeding then, or you might save that solid feeding for the 7 p.m. liquid feeding and do it then. It's fine to do either time, 3 or 7 p.m. I had 2 babies I did with 3, and I had 2 babies I did with 7, just to fit in with what worked best for our family schedule. So do whatever works best there. You might also have a snack time at this age, which I would do at either the 3 or 7 feeding or in conjunction with when your family eats dinner. So if your family is eating dinner at 5, then you could feed a light snack to your baby at that time so that your baby is part of the family dinner time. For sleep, for nap time, you will have 2 or 3 naps a day. Most babies this age will have 2. Some will have 3. And you might find that your baby needs a 3rd nap only 2 or 3 times a week. So it's okay to have a 3rd nap some days and not others. There is a sleep regression at this age. Do not mistake this sleep regression for a sign your baby is ready for just 1 nap a day. Do not move to 1 nap a day at this age. Your baby still needs 2 naps a day. There are other things to change, but do not drop to 1 nap a day. If your baby's not sleeping well for naps, you might need a longer wake time length, which would also mean a shorter nap. At least one of the naps would be shorter. You might need to change up stimulation levels. This is my first recommendation. A lot of babies this age are still playing with kind of babyish toys, and it's time to give them some toys that are older and more age appropriate for them. So get them some toys that work for them. Make sure they're getting some physical movement and some mental stimulation, which those toys will provide both opportunities, and get that stimulation up before messing with wake time length or anything like that. Do the stimulation first and then move on. For night sleep, your baby will need 10 to 12 hours of sleep at night. During wake time, make sure you have your independent play each day. This should be 30 to 45 minutes long. And you can still have blanket time also. Do not do blanket time instead of independent play time. If you can only fit one of those 2 things in, choose independent play, but blanket time is still a great thing to do. Now for the milestones. As always, if you are concerned about any of these milestones, be sure to speak with your baby's doctor. And also remember, milestones can only be achieved if they can be practiced. One fun milestone your baby might be able to do is to stand up while holding on to something. Some might be able to cruise along furniture. That means your baby holds on to something and takes steps, and so can walk while holding on to something else. Your baby might be able to wave and clap hands, to say words intentionally. Your baby should be able to play peekaboo. Your baby should be able to pick up small objects, which of course means you need to make sure small objects are out of your baby's reach unless it is pieces of food that you're feeding your baby. And your baby may be able to point to things and try to communicate that way, which also means that if you've been doing sign language, your baby can sign things to you. Another milestone is babies can understand the word no. So do not be afraid to tell your baby no, and it is for your baby's own good to learn to listen to that. So work on that. And make sure you have boundaries for your baby to follow so that as your baby turns into a toddler, following boundaries is not a new thing. And that wraps up the 10th month. If you would like to see some sample schedules for this age group, If you're on the blog, scroll down, and if you are not on the blog, head over to see all the schedules that people have shared.